Admiral, radar shows that we have liberals approaching at 3 o'clock, and libertarians at 9 o'clock, and conservatives at 6 o'clock. They're coming from every angle, every viewpoint.
Hey, Green Bay, this is Elliot. I'm here with my sidekick, Jacob. And
I'm the sidekick?
Yeah. And we are actually coming at you from Milwaukee today. That's why we have this fancy background. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think this is the first episode of Political Radar Green Bay not recorded in Green Bay.
Ooh, mind-blowing. I don't know if we are gonna. I think I'd like to label this one I wish I had a great name like Phil Jennerjohn had, like the the trial of. But I had this post on the Political Radar community about the process that we force our volunteers to go through. So that's what I want to get to.
Specifically, volunteers for
our public schools.
Yes.
Yeah. So, sorry. I thought I started with that.
No.
Yeah. I'll get better. I will get better.
That's why I'm here, right? To tell you when you screw up.
That's the sidekick's job, Robin.
Oh.
So, first though, you should hit subscribe, hit the bell, and forward this off to your friends so you don't forget to do that later. All right. So, let's get right into it. So I am this year I'm volunteering to teach computer science with a few other people. So this isn't just me, and it's not just me whining on my behalf. This is me whining on behalf of other people who are not voicing their concerns, or maybe aren't concerned, but I'm concerned on their behalf because I want to see more people from our community involved in our schools. Mm-hmm. And I feel that we're putting up roadblocks, and I'm saying we because these are our schools. So I'm not blaming anybody. I'm saying we as a community, we need to fix this, right? I'm saying we're putting up these roadblocks, and then we're complaining that our students aren't behaving. We don't have enough community involvement.
Where are you teaching at, so I know where to file my complaints?
Yeah, so I'll be at Preble High School, which is where I went to high school. So it's a good full circle type of thing. We have 14 as of right now.
I'm the teacher now.
It's a co-teaching thing. So it's actually a really good program. It's a program started by Microsoft, and good for them for being involved in getting computer science pushed through the whole country. We're kind of lucky to have a program like that. So I'm kind of excited. It's called TEALS. If anybody wants to look it up, TEALS.
So you've taught before, though, just not at the high school level.
So that's where they kind of. I don't want to brag me up because this isn't about me, but they jumped at the chance to have me, and they jumped at the chance to have some.
They jumped at the chance.
They jumped at the chance to have other people. I have
so many suitors lined up.
I have some teaching experience, right?
Yeah.
But some of these other people, they don't necessarily have teaching experience, but they have other experience in computer science.
Industry experience.
Yes. And so they jumped at the chance of these people involved too, because the variety of experience is what we're going for.
But I have both.
Yeah, whatever. I shouldn't have said it like that. So anyway, I posted a few of these things in the group, and I encourage anybody who has some other perspective that I'm not hitting on, and maybe you can enlighten me, Jacob. But one of the things, and this is one of the things I posted, it says, have you ever been convicted, i.e. found guilty and or paid a fine for a minor traffic infraction? It calls out minor specifically. You have to say whether you had a minor traffic infraction.
So
and you can't just say yes or no.
You have to
actually say. You have to give details.
So if you ever parked too close to a fire hydrant,
everything, and you're expected to give details. And so my answer that I shared with the group is, I've been driving for 30 years. I don't have dates or additional information on minor violations. Maybe they won't allow me to. Maybe they won't allow me to be involved with our students.
It was 1996.
Might have been.
I was driving, and I thought the light was green, but it was yellow, and it turned red, and I was crossing. I was given a $4 fine for not wearing my seatbelt once. It was 1999. Right? The Packers were playing the Steelers.
So be devil's advocate. Speak from your heart. Why does that question exist?
Well, what if I don't think it should?
I don't.
Okay,
Somebody has to defend this. Why is this here?
I understand the core concept of, people would be uncomfortable having, people who are, what's the phrase? Previous felons. Maybe they'd be uncomfortable with that. Even though I'd argue, like previous felons and whatnot would be a great type of person to have come in and talk to kids. It could be very enlightening to them. But, that said, maybe parents would go, oh, that person stabbed someone. I don't want them near my kids. I understand that. That part I'd say is, yeah, that's justified. Now, on the other hand, I've never driven a car in my life, and I could probably have to write something down for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a minor traffic infraction. Yeah, you might have a seatbelt violation. I mean,
Right.
And it calls it out. It says, please list OWI and hit and run under question number 2. So this is not the only thing. It goes on. There are multiple questions about your history. And what is the point of this? What are we trying to do? So you said, all right, we don't want murderers in there. Although I would argue, if you're a murderer, we have more people in prison in our country than any other society on the planet.
This is true, both number-wise and percentage-wise.
By any measure, it's appalling. We have more than communist China and Putin-led Russia. It's terrible, and it's appalling. And Brown County in specific, we don't have enough spots in our county jail.
We do not.
We have to rent out space in other jails. So presumably we're locking people up fast enough. So if someone's let out, they're probably okay, right?
Yeah. Well, recidivism, all that stuff.
Well,
but
I mean, so we jail people more than anywhere else on earth, but we suck at it?
right, but like I understand. I don't want a kid diddler going to school talking to kids as much as the next person. I think that's pretty reasonable, right?
So those people specifically, though, when you go to court, when you're let out, like they have specific rules that the court doesn't let them do those things.
Right.
So some of them are barred from even going to try to volunteer.
Now, obviously, they're putting these gotcha questions in, not obviously, I guess. I'm assuming they're putting these gotcha questions in to ask you about all these things, not because it'll prevent you from teaching. They go, oh, I'm sorry, you filled out that blank at all. You're not going to get in. But
That's
in case you do something.
So it's an online form, and it wouldn't let me just put, have you ever been convicted? And go, yes. You have to put details. Right. That's why I had to put in, I've been driving for 30 years. I don't have details.
So like, so if there's a case where Elliot Christian drives through school zone,
right.
Teacher at Preble High School drives through Preble High School going 85 miles per hour.
Right.
Then they can say, well, we warned you, we had, I don't know.
But what if
I was going to say, we can show, he marked that off, but that would look worse.
What if what if everybody loves me and I've gotten, which is not the case, which is not the case, right? But what if I'm a smooth talker and I've been pulled over, but I never got a ticket, never got, in the words here, found guilty or paid a fine, but I've done plenty of things wrong. I just never really got caught, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have this idea that where there's this perception that everyone is perfect, and then you get caught for anything, we're gonna throw you in the pit.
Also, the small bunch of people who have truly never committed any sort of thing like that.
People?
They're probably weirdos.
You have to be.
Sorry if that offends you out there.
How can you have
you're probably
never?
A weirdo.
How can you drive without ever having any kind of a traffic infraction? And I don't even actually understand what that actually means. Like a minor traffic infraction to me, is that a parking ticket?
Right.
They're not clear here, and so trying to be complete, I feel like I have to say yes, because yes, I have had numerous parking tickets. And so does that make me a terrible person because they do have parking rules there? Are they like, well, we got to watch out for this guy. He might park in the wrong spot. We don't want that kind of chaos on our campus.
Watch this segue here. You
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
I assume the reason they do this, the reason why they add all these questions is for when things do go horribly wrong. Because there are cases, like a recent case.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Mhm.
You probably already know this, but maybe you don't. Of not a teacher, but what's the word? A
Paraprofessional.
at Southwest High School who has been arrested for having inappropriate activity with a student.
Right.
And that's recent. She's got another court case in September sometime, I believe. But the first one wasn't the actual "are you guilty or not?" It was the setting bond.
Right.
That's already gone through, and she did it. Like she's not even denying she did it.
Yeah, she admitted it. She said that she loves the boy. But presumably she passed the background check, which is where you're going with that.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why we would put volunteers through this.
Well, I think she was a paid employee.
She is a paid employee. So there are different rules that you might put paid employees through, and there might be legal requirements to do so
from the state level or the federal level.
My understanding is there are no such rules. There are no such laws. That is up to the district to make the decisions for volunteers to come in. And our district could get rid of this tomorrow. Our school board could get rid of this tomorrow. And if the state says, you really should have something in place, fight me. Fight me on it. I'm serious. If Governor Evers or Voss in the legislature, if they wanna fight our district on getting more volunteers involved, come and talk to me. Let's have this debate in public about this is
Hey Elliot,
it's crazy pants.
Should we be paying our volunteers for volunteering?
Did you mute your microphone for that?
No.
I mean that's a separate thing, right? Typically volunteers do not get paid to volunteer.
No.
That's sort of a crazy concept.
I thought I'd bring that up because I knew you'd find it.
Because I'm on a crazy rant and you just want to pour gasoline on the fire.
That's what I do.
Yeah. We should not be paying volunteers with tax dollars. We should not be paying employees to volunteer with our tax dollars. That does not make sense. You are already a public employee that we're paying with our tax dollars. That does not make sense.
Was it
does not
mandatory?
Compute.
I believe at first, like the first proposal was like mandatory.
The first proposal was like, you get to volunteer as much as you want, and we're going to pay you for it. Yeah. And then they're like, well, how about like one day a year or something? Just so like we want to do something. Like why? How about people just take days off like usual and they use their vacation time if they want to get paid? But yeah. Anyway, tell me how I'm wrong. I want someone to tell me how I'm wrong on this. How does this protect our kids? I'm going to volunteer, by the way. These are probably high school sophomores and up.
Yeah.
So 16, 17, 18 years old.
Yes.
How are these 14 students being protected by me going through this? And not just me, 2 other volunteers. We have 3 volunteers helping these 14 students, our best and brightest, to excel at computer science and potentially get college credit, pass the AP test, and we have more people that want to get involved, and we're putting barriers up.
I think there should be some barriers. It shouldn't be walk into the school, you can tell the kids whatever you want.
Isn't the barrier a professional teacher? I had to talk to the teacher several times prior to going there. Don't we trust our teachers?
Well, teachers aren't trained to be HR people, is my argument on that. A teacher knows about as much as you do about what the state or federal requirements for that would be, So I can understand making it a thing where you have to go through the district itself. Plus, there are some crazy teachers out there. You know that, right?
Okay.
This is my friend Jim.
Yeah.
He's a heroin addict, and he's coming in to teach kid. I don't know, whatever you want. Don't leave your books out because he'll probably steal them.
Well, okay. So here's a few things. The process that teachers have to go through to get hired is ridiculously rigorous. Even our district in particular, at the Green Bay Area Public Schools, for substitute teachers, is onerous.
Mm-hmm.
We had the lost episode that we recorded with my brother, right?
Uh-oh.
And they require multiple people, verified individuals, to vouch for them, reference checks, which most employers, like, that's just like a formality, like put some references down to show that you know some people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, nope, we have to call these people, we have to talk to them, and you have to talk to them within a certain number of hours. Very insane. They talk to their substitute teachers about curriculum. What would you propose to be the curriculum here?
The curriculum for a substitute teacher is putting on a movie that remotely relates to it.
Well,
what's that? You're talking about history? Congrats, kids. We're watching Monty Python today.
Okay. So, I mean, to me, we're being ridiculous here. We're saying we can't get enough teachers and substitute teachers, and we're putting all these barriers in place. But great, we want the best teachers. Fine, we have them. Okay, or we don't, and then this is crazy. But we have the best teachers because we put all these barriers up. We have the best teachers. I trust them to bring in their own volunteers.
All right, so here's my question: whose fault is it when it goes wrong?
If a bad guy does bad things, it's the bad guy's fault.
Okay.
It's not the background check's fault when this is like blaming the gun, right? Like,
is it their fault, or is it the person who hired them? Or
no, it's their fault.
So if the school district does bring someone in who turns out to do something bad, right?
An employee.
Yeah, an employee.
Yeah.
How much of the responsibility for that is on the school district? Let's say a student.
Yep, they have to do
in the school.
They have to do a reasonable amount, and they're doing an above average amount already.
And a teacher does something inappropriate to that student.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, right?
Yeah.
They grab them, whatever, at the school.
Mm-hmm.
Does the student's family have the right to sue the school board or the school district?
I don't see why. Yeah, if the school followed appropriate procedures, I don't see why.
Okay, that's fair. If there are any lapses in the procedures,
because
the student goes and complains
and
about
that's what
it.
I'm saying. They're following. They're going above. They're going too far.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know what? I understand we have a litigious society, but you know what? If you want to sue our district because a teacher did something wrong, you are a bad person.
Whoa, that is a blanket statement.
You're a bad person. If you wanna blame someone, blame the person who did the act. Like, be real. Like, if somebody hires me and I do something bad, is it their fault that they hired me? Seriously?
I think that's
seriously
debatable.
Seriously?
There are always going to be situations. If there are a ton of red flags about the person,
right?
Or
there wouldn't be.
Here's an example. Okay. Cops.
Mm-hmm.
There are tons of cops who get in trouble for violent acts or doing something that they should not be doing,
right?
Planting drugs and stuff, and they get fired by their force,
yep.
And then they get hired right back on to some other force, some other police department. That's a red flag. And then if they do something wrong, yeah, I think the police force is responsible. If this person's got a history of doing that kind of thing, definitely
on the job.
Yeah. Well, even off the job. If the person, like, off the job shoots someone.
I mean, there's,
I don't know.
I mean, we're not talking about shooting anybody.
No,
I mean, this is the thing. And I'm sorry, the world is a dangerous place. You can't account for all variables, or you're gonna literally just isolate, which is what happened. This is what has happened to our schools in particular. And, in the country in general. I mean, I think this is not just a Green Bay problem, but it is also a Green Bay problem. Now, I'm in Green Bay, and I want to do something about it. And it's too far. We've gone too far.
Well, what do you think the reason is for that?
Well, all of the nonsense about Columbine, and I mean, that's where it starts, right?
Okay.
Sandy Hook. And these are people like, these were not volunteers, by the way, in either of those situations.
No,
Any
but
of
that
them.
doesn't
These
mean it
volunteers have
couldn't not
never
be.
done anything like this.
Okay, but that's a bad sense of logic, you know.
But that's when
this group of people has never shot someone, so we should ignore the chance that they could.
But that's when the rules got put into place, is based on these things. Usually the school shootings are their students. I mean, like, the problems are with students.
Students, there
I
have
mean,
been former
maybe,
students.
how about if you give me a background check on all the students so I can see who I'm walking into?
There have occasionally been teachers.
I'm more likely to be shot by somebody there. I'm not joking. Like, that's the reality. I'm walking into something that is more dangerous than me walking in.
Do you deserve hazard pay?
I
Hazard pay for going into
I deserve
the
to be treated like the supposed respected person.
Well,
I just think about, like, my class. If I'm bringing somebody in to speak in my class at UWGB, I am so honored. I will do anything I can to accommodate them to come in, and we're putting in roadblocks.
Well, clearly, you'd feel safe in that school if every teacher was armed, right?
Either way, it doesn't bother me.
Oh, I'm trying to gotcha there, man.
No,
Come on.
No, I mean,
Let's see.
either way. I mean, people
Should teachers be armed?
people have concealed carry. That you could be armed right now. That doesn't matter to me.
Should teachers in public schools be armed?
If they feel the need to be, they should be able to be.
Interesting.
Most teachers would not want to be, so I don't think it's a problem. But if they feel the need to be, and they're trained,
I think
then they would need to be trained.
For
right?
every case that a teacher is able to use their weapon and legitimately stop something bad from happening, you know, a school shooter or whatnot.
Yeah.
For every case of that, there will be 100 cases of
100 cases.
Yeah, 100
cases.
There a student grabs the teacher's gun and shoots someone.
There aren't 100 cases of shootings.
The teacher accidentally drops their gun and it goes off. Or.
Yep, guns are dangerous.
Yeah, guns are really dangerous.
So guess what? They don't let me bring a gun into school.
No,
that's already a thing.
But can teachers?
This is a totally separate thing.
Yeah. Now I'm off on this tangent.
Yeah, all right.
Answer my tangent.
Yeah, okay. Can teachers? I mean, I think the policy of Green Bay Public Schools is you can't.
That's good.
So yeah, I don't care one way or the other. I mean, I'm not pushing for guns in schools, but I wouldn't keep my kid out of school if they changed it. It wouldn't bother me either way. Like, I really have no opinion on that, because I don't think that it necessarily increases safety, but I don't think it decreases it either. I think it's fine. I can see pros and cons, and I think it kind of is a wash. I think these other things make it more dangerous. I think this is the analogy I would say is over sanitizing your environment so that you can't handle when a germ comes in. Like, everything is so sanitized. What happens when a crazy person does show up? Like, if I were an actual bad guy, I'm gonna lie on my background check things, and I'm gonna be able to evade it.
What do you think the background check thing looked like for the lady at Southwest?
I'm sure it was either the same. Now there was a question of whether I accidentally got the employer version of this, and that might be why it's so onerous. But still, I don't really think there should be much of anything. I was also asked to provide the last 7 years of my address. And here's the thing. This is what really bothered me. Like, I was trying to fill this out when I wasn't at home. Like, I'm trying to fill it out during the workday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't have the dates that I moved on. I don't have that information just handy with me.
Also, what would they get from that? Oh, he listed his fourth last location as being from North Korea.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, the information is mostly public if they're doing their job, because they're going to do a background check. That's what the check part is. So are they trying to do gotchas? Like, you lied?
Maybe.
You know, if I made a mistake? Like, I mean, like, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to catch people in gotchas? Are we trying to, like, what is the line?
You said you got a ticket in 1997 for driving at 82 miles
and,
per hour.
And honestly,
and you were driving at 87.
Don't you think, so I know you're not a parent, but you're not that much older than high school students. Don't you think that it would have been helpful for you to get more perspectives? So not just from professionals, but don't you think it would have been good for somebody who was released from prison and is bettering themselves and to hear about their experience?
Yeah.
Like, why would we not want someone like that to be speaking to our students?
I don't remember all that many speakers or volunteers coming into different classes.
This is
ones
why
I do remember.
This is the reason.
We're pretty garbage, honestly.
This is the reason, because good people are too busy to do this. Good people are like, what? No, I'm not going to do this. I'm not. What? You want me to speak and then you're going to treat me like I'm a criminal? How about no? I'm too busy. I'm sorry. No thanks. And by the way, I'm a parent in the district. I think if you have a child in the district, you should get some additional latitude in some fashion. I don't know what that means because, I understand some parents are whacked too. But I'm sorry, we need our parents to be involved, even the whacked ones. So you should be given a little bit of latitude. Like, if you misbehave in class, you get a strike and we don't ask you back. But you should get a chance. I don't. What's the downside? Like, what is, like, so you had speakers in class. Like, what is it that they would do in class? They're chaperoned by the teacher usually the entire time.
Yeah.
So what is it? So
true.
What is it that's going to happen? What is the thing that they're going to do that we're so afraid of? What is it that we're afraid of? They're going to say something? Well, then you don't ask them back. And then you have the teacher explain what they said was inappropriate, and here's why. That's a learning experience in itself.
Yeah.
So what is the downside here? What am I missing?
Why are you asking me?
Because you're the one that's here. And
I don't know.
And honestly, I asked our school board people, and they're like, they're not answering. Rhonda's not answering. I think Rhonda half agrees with it. I think Christina half agrees with it. And they're like, well, we have to check on the rules. And I'm like, you're the rules. You're the rules. Change it. This is ridiculous. And I think they're all afraid. Everyone's afraid. Yeah, I'm afraid of Rhonda, and I just said she's afraid. She's gonna come here and kick my butt. But I'm kind of fed up with the whole situation of our schools. I think I'm done with my rant.
Okay.
So,
do we have anything else to talk about other than your ranting?
Well, so it just permeates the whole thing. Like they went to the media and complained about not being able to get substitute teachers. And then they make substitute teachers go through all of this plus more. And it's like, this is somebody who's going to go, work in the district one or 2 days a month.
Serious question. Why do we need substitute teachers in general? Like,
why can't somebody else just cover for them?
No. Like, of the 100, let's say 100, out of every 100 substitute teachers I had as a kid, having a actual productive day was maybe 1%.
So why do they need to be credentialed?
Why do there have to be any at all? Why can't you just have, one of the people who, was already at the school, their helpers or their lunch
that's what I mean. Why do they have to be credentialed?
I don't even think they need to, for the younger age, sure, they have to be there. But, like, just put on a movie. Tell the kids, hey, you got a free day. You can study or you can watch Beetlejuice.
I agree with you. I don't know why. It's a money pit. We just want to just dump money. I don't understand why we do that. They're not productive. I was in school. They're not productive days. And what's a substitute going to do? How do they get up to speed in one day? They can't. Now, if there's an extended absence. So my brother did, like if somebody's out on maternity leave. But that's not the same thing.
No, that is not the same
indeed
thing.
A substitute teacher.
A one-day sub is not the same
And that's
thing.
the typical thing. Like somebody has the flu and they call in at the last minute. You can't get somebody and get them up to speed fast enough.
No,
that's just not practical.
You know what? Those long-term absence substitute teachers, I've had a couple.
Yeah.
They were great.
Yes. And that's usually, those are usually younger, more passionate. They're trying to get a job. They usually do a great job, right?
Yeah.
So that's fine, and they should have credentials. But you're right. Like the rest of them, like, I don't know, why can't a parent just come in and take care of the kids? You know, like, or anybody in the building, a volunteer. I don't know. I don't know why we have to waste so much money. And it's not just about the money, but I want teachers to be paid more. I want more people from the community involved in the schools.
You know, I understand not agreeing with that, and you know, a part of the brain here is like, well, you know, I'm not really comfortable with that. But also, I had the secondary thought that jumped into my head that kind of proves your argument, and I kind of don't like that I'm going to prove your argument.
Yeah,
we have volunteer firefighters,
right?
We don't have volunteer police because they have guns, but volunteer firefighters are a real thing, and we can trust people to go into burning buildings and stuff. So,
and they might have to go through some training. I'm sure there's some rules, and maybe those are onerous too. But I'm talking about people who are going to come into a classroom, typically not that much, like maybe an hour, maybe even a few times a week for a whole year. But they're what is it that we're afraid of, and what is it that we're actually trying to accomplish? And like, I look at like, what's the worst case and what's the best case? And I'm like, we need to fix this. We need more people in the schools. If we're actually afraid of bad people being in the schools, the percentage-wise, most people are good. Let's get more people in. More people in means more good people in. And that's really where I'm coming from. The math just works.
Okay.
Please disagree with me.
Yeah, I was
it's not
just
very
gonna say,
fun if you don't disagree with me.
I don't have much of a disagreement, which is rare.
Well,
so
your job then is to find me somebody to disagree with me.
I think that's a good.
You have to find some. I don't know what this is, because I don't know where politically this falls.
Right.
Because to me, like, conservatives, like, you should care about the money aspect of this, and if you're a liberal, you should care about the education aspect of this.
I love how caring about education is now a liberal thing.
Well, this is a liberal talking point. They're like, no amount of money on education is enough. This is a liberal talking point. It is. Okay.
Okay.
And
are you saying you're one of them dirty liberals now? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying, like, no matter what perspective, whatever direction you're coming at this from, this is not working. And it's not working. Our schools are slipping academically. They're not catching up against other countries. And we have this, I'm told that we have this problem of weapons and danger in schools. I don't believe that, but I'm told we have it, and these things have not fixed the problem. So let's go back to the way it was before we had all this stuff.
I don't know if we have
roll
to
it
go
back a bit,
all the way back.
Let's roll it back a little bit.
We should probably have, you know.
Let's have a question. Are you on the sex offender registry? Yes or no? And then let's have a conversation. Like, what are the other people that we don't want in there? Because I'm not sure that, like, me personally, like, I'm not sure who else I don't want in there for high school. You know, maybe I don't want, you know, murderers in with first graders. But I don't know. I mean, if you are released from prison, you served your time, I don't know what we're trying to accomplish here.
Well, we have a culture in this country in general of once a criminal, always a criminal. That's why we can't hire previous felons for tons of jobs and all that stuff. And that's wrong.
But this is a volunteer.
Oh, what?
How do you better yourself?
You had some marijuana in the 1980s? You're never going to get food stamps in your life.
You know, like, just look at things that go on a resume, right? So you go to try to get a job. You're like, well, nobody would hire me. So what have you been doing with your time? Well, I also can't volunteer anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you been doing with your time? I don't know. I can't do anything. So I went back to crime.
Yep.
So will you hire me now?
Well, there are tons of other reasons that go back to crime as well. You know, financial reasons.
Well, the financial reason is nobody's going to hire you.
I have no job, but I have to pay for my own parole officer.
Well, right. So we just stack it on the stack. It's, I mean, yeah, that makes me sound like a bleeding heart, and I don't want to go all orange is the new black on everybody. But that is a problem. And what is it that we're actually trying to solve here? I hate when I agree with you. It seriously makes for a very boring dialogue.
Well, that's why we need to get people in
So
here
you need to
who
find
can
me
yell at
somebody.
you at it.
You need to find me somebody that will disagree with me on that, because I'm not for no protection, but we're already locking all the doors. We got to check in when we get there. We got to be escorted by the teacher. We trust our teacher? Like, how many levels of security do we need to have? This isn't the Pentagon. This is a school where the kids are going to go to the mall and go to McDonald's after school anyway. I mean, I'm talking about high schools, like, right?
Right.
Like maybe elementary schools, it's slightly different, but actually the rules of getting into elementary schools were easier. The high schools are the ones that are the crazy problem. So that's my rant. I'm done. I'm totally done.
Okay.
So you can close us out, because I'm tapped out.
All right. So if you do disagree with Elliot, which you probably do, you can let him know. We've got the comment section on YouTube. You can definitely let us know there. Or you can talk to us in the Political Radar group. We'll certainly respond to your questions and comments there. And if you'd like to come on the show as a guest, we won't make you fill out a ton of crazy forms, right?
0 crazy forms, and in fact, it can be anonymous. We can probably anonymize them, right?
That would be funny.
I mean, honestly, I don't. If somebody actually disagrees and they don't want to put their name forward, I think we should volunteer to anonymize them, because I don't get it. Somebody has to be sticking up for this point of view.
Okay, and make sure to, whatever platform you're watching or listening to this episode on, make sure to, like it, or whatever that platform uses. Yeah, everyone's got to have their own version. You can upvote,
right.
I know iTunes reviews are really important, all that stuff. And, this type of show, it's a political show. It's controversial. So chances are advertisers are scarce for this type of thing. So feel free to support us on Patreon as well if you want to keep the lights on.
Right.
In this case, the very pretty light.
Right. They're nice. They're awesome. Yeah.
And that's what we got today.
That's what we got. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Political Radar. To ensure that you never miss an episode, subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast app. To stay up to date, visit politicalradar.com or connect with us on Facebook or Twitter.